What is going on, everybody? We're here. We're live. It's 4th of July weekend. And I don't know about you guys. I'm still recovering from all of the food and all of the drinks and all of the everything else I may have ingested during 4th of July weekend. So I'm a little bit tired. I'm a little bit beat right now. But Beardo, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah, I got a little carried away on the 4th of July. Way too many hot dogs and burgers. I even had ribs that I marinated in some Dr. Pepper and hot sauce just sitting overnight for 24 hours that I still need to cook because I just got way too damn full on Friday. Consumed a lot of beers. And, man, I was celebrating Joey Chestnut's glorious victory, 17 titles at the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. So, but, dude, I hit the gym yesterday. All those carbs after Friday, dude, I had a glorious workout yesterday from all those fucking carbs.
I had an opposite experience when I went. Not that all the carbs and stuff in there probably couldn't have helped, but I feel like I was still inebriated when I got to the gym at 9, like to the point where my workout is a blur. Like I don't remember certain things.
Oh, damn.
I did get there, but it probably was not the most.
Did you throw up in the gym?
What's that?
Did you throw up in the gym?
No. I don't throw up.
I've had that happen. There was one time when I was younger, I went to the gym. I think it was after 4th of July, and I was working out, and I just got so fucking sick during the workout. I had to run to the bathroom and throw up, and then finish the workout. It was gnarly.
It probably would have helped me if I had, to be honest. But
I love sitting in the sauna and just sweating it all out, all the bad.
That's what I do. I go to the sauna because there's a sauna in the men's locker room in my gym. I go in there for 20 minutes and sweat it all out. But I haven't overdone it, man. I'm cutting right now, so my nutrition's on point.
Yeah,
I've been doing pretty good, actually, until 4th of July. We have a cheat weekend. That's
likewise. I got carried away.
Will, how you doing? Any big life-changing moments for you since we saw you last?
No, not at all.
That fucking tooth, man.
Be careful with fireworks, kids. Okay, be careful. No, I'm doing good. Getting used to my new look, but I had a good 4th. I heard you guys talking on Daily, Ryan, on Friday. You guys were talking about different kinds of hot dogs. I'll tell you what, it sounds weird, but that cream cheese hot dog is actually delicious. Over in I went to school at Washington State.
Seattle one, the Washington one, yeah.
Oh, in Pullman, there's this place called Munchies. I don't know if it's still there or whatnot, but when I was there, they fire up a grill at midnight. So when you're done drinking and partying at the bars, everyone goes and grabs a hot dog. You get a jalapeno cream cheese with the grilled onions on it.
Now maybe
because we're hammered, it tastes delicious, probably, but they're awesome.
Yeah, I believe it, dude. Look, cream cheese jalapeno pop. Have you ever had, jalapenos? You fucking cut them in half. You hollow them out. Put some cream cheese, some bacon, some cheese in that thing. Wrap it in a piece of bacon.
Oh, yeah.
Pop those in the oven, dude. I barely even do that shit.
That's great stuff.
But also John Matrix, who I'm sure made some food. He's always out there smoking everything. I'm sure you made some good food on 4th of July.
No, I didn't. I actually
what?
I actually went out on yesterday because I had family came in, so I decided, let me wait a day. So I was out all day yesterday, but I had some brisket, some ribs, some fruit, kept the macros in check, man. So hey, man, it was fun.
Well, there you go. I mean, I can't.
At least you made up for it with some barbecue.
John's always making food. He's always smoking something. He's always got something working up.
I eat barbecue
Sundays,
every Saturday. Every Saturday, brisket and ribs.
That does sound really fucking good. But before we get too hungry and talking about all this, I suppose we've already gone there. Anyway, Joey Chestnut, Return of the King. He might be the most dominant athlete we've ever seen in any lifetime, not just our own.
He's not an athlete, man. I don't consider competitive eating athletic. It's in his own thing, man. But it's crazy, though.
Is it more of a sport than NASCAR?
Ooh.
You know what? Ooh. Considering the physical toll on the body, it may be.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's definitely more of a sport than bowling or darts or billiards. But I don't know. NASCAR, like, those guys do have to have some conditioning for that.
Oh yeah, well, they're in really good shape for the most part. Yeah, but look, Joey Chestnut, it's a game, and he has dominated it. Was last year because of the sponsorship he took, but what he down another 70 hot dogs or something in 10 minutes?
70 and a half.
I'd like to see LeBron do that if they weren't all dicks. I bet he could do it if they were actual penises. LeBron James could manage to get that done.
I would be afraid to choke him, man.
The crazy thing was, he said like the first 2 or 3 minutes he was up there, he was like nervous and he couldn't get like a good like rhythm down. And then he finally got it about 6 minutes in. I'm like, holy fuck. He's like, if I would have had a good, consistent 10 minutes, he said he thinks that he could have got 80. Next year, he
put 6 down in the first 30 seconds. How's it not?
I don't know.
Rhythm?
And didn't he finish like 20 dogs ahead of the second place person?
Like 25 dogs, yeah.
25 dogs, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I had under 70, and he goes over it by a half, which was kind of BS because he started like 2 seconds before the time actually started ticking down.
Now, in defense of competitive eaters, man, a lot of those people, they train like athletes, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like they train their jaws are always just like chewing on like 12 sticks of gum at all times.
Yeah.
Did you see also
there's
a decent...
Go ahead. I was going to say, there's a decent amount of like working out. There's a decent amount of like actual working out that Joey Chestnut does outside of this in an effort to combat the 25,000 calories that he consumes when he does these things. Because it's not just here where they're doing it. They're constantly training their bodies to do these things, to get ready for these events for different stuff, not just hot dogs, but ice cream and fucking mayonnaise and disgusting shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's this YouTuber. Her name is Katina Eats Kilos. She's a like competitive eater. She is small, but she's jacked, and she puts down some food like crazy on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. And the size of their stomachs too, like the actual organ, not like their gut, but they train their stomachs like they're huge.
To expand.
Right.
Did you compete along with Joey Chestnut, Beardo?
I had 5 dogs on Friday and 1 cheeseburger later for dinner. I was so stuffed, dude.
Yeah, and you're lightweight compared to him.
What the fuck? True. Yeah, I'm not bragging like I'm some fucking awesome badass competitive eater.
I know, man.
I had 5 dogs and I loaded them with, kraut and, all the condiments.
That's a lot
and
of
stuff.
dogs, man. I
don't think I've had 70 dogs in my adult life. Like when you think about 70, that's a lot.
It is.
I've definitely had 70 as an adult.
Oh yeah.
Did you see how many calories he's eaten just in the contest? It's like
12,000 or something.
No, it's like 3,000 or 350,000 calories just since he started in 2005.
Oh, you're talking about his whole career. Oh, okay.
Yeah, just at the hot dog eating contest.
Wow.
Well, because I think like if you eat 70 hot dogs and 70 buns, that's close to like 20,000 calories or something, right? Yeah. In a fucking instant, dude. That's a week's worth of calories. Boom.
Did you see some of the records when they were announcing people? Like a dude ate like in 8 minutes, he ate like 18 and a half peanut butter and banana sandwiches.
Yeah, like those are the things that people like, even though some of these people might not be the best at hot dogs, but all of the people that line up for these things all have different areas, whether it's like
pistachios,
scallops.
Yeah, the pistachios
stuff.
one. Mm-hmm. That one was crazy. It was like 350 shelled and eaten pistachios in 8 minutes. Like, holy shit. Yeah. That's crazy.
See, I wish that Kobayashi really didn't quit, because I would have liked to see him and Jaws go head to head like every single year. But I don't believe Kobayashi even does it really.
That dude's a bitch.
Yeah, he got embarrassed.
Yeah. The one time they actually competed, Joey Chestnut fucking raped him, right?
And didn't Kobayashi throw up? I think he threw up while he was competing against Joey Chestnut. I'm almost sure. Might be a different Asian guy.
I don't know. He was always like protesting this or protesting that because of these rules or those rules or whatever. He would like stand on the roof and watch while it was going on, but it was all just fucking talk and bullshit. Because Joey Chestnut is the GOAT. Once you realize you can't beat him,
he is.
Yeah. And then remember a few years ago during the actual competition, Joey Chestnut had to like chokehold and beat up a fucking protester.
Yeah.
There was a random I don't know if it was animal rights or whatever it was that got up there with some fucking sign, and Joey Chestnut while having dogs and buns shoved in his fucking face, just like grabs the guy and puts him in a headlock and like throws him away.
It
was
awesome.
so random. In the middle of eating.
It was probably one of those just stop oil lunatics.
And the guy who got second place ate 46 dogs. He won last year. So that tells you, and he had like what, 50 dogs last year?
Yeah, that's Joey Chestnut didn't participate.
He didn't. He signed some contract and he breached his contract with Nathan's because he did the vegan stuff.
He did. I think it was like the Beyond or the Impossible Burgers, or whatever that non-meat meat is. I think he signed a contract with them. Yeah,
but then he also did a competition for them. So he did a hot dog eating contest with the Beyond hot dogs, and that breached his contract with the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. So he was disqualified last year because of that. There's a few things that went into it.
Yeah, I don't know. Fuck that shit. But yeah, it's fun to watch a bunch of people sling hot dogs down their throats for 10 minutes.
I love it.
The ladies do it too.
Yeah.
The ladies do it too. Not at the same level, but it's because they're women. They're not as good. That's why they compete against other women. It's why Joey Chestnut isn't allowed to throw a fucking wig on and pretend he's trans and go compete against the women. But that is what they allowed for, I don't know, someone like fucking Leah Thomas. And we've been talking about Leah Thomas and the damage that it's done and the outrages and all of that stuff for, I don't know, ever since it started. When was that? When did the thing go viral? Like 2 or 3 years ago, John? Do you even remember?
2022.
2022, 3 years ago. We've been talking about this insanity. And finally, as you've seen different colleges or different organizations eventually come up and be like, yeah, we're not going to allow men to compete against women anymore. Finally, UPenn, basically after pressure by the Trump administration, gets forced to not only essentially strip Leah Thomas or Will Thomas of the actual championships and give them back to the women who set those, not the championships, the records at University of Pennsylvania, restore those records to the actual women, but they were forced to contact all the people that were on the team and issue an apology of sorts for allowing this disgusting, degenerate freak with a fucking dick hanging out in the women's locker room to actually compete on this team. It's incredibly embarrassing, one, for this loser, this piece of shit, but also for the college, for the university in general. Riley Gaines been certainly very outspoken about all of this, but Paula Scanlon's been outspoken. She was on the UPenn team with Leah Thomas, forced to change 18 times a week next to this freak who gets turned on by pretending to be a woman. I mean, it's just one step. It's one little thing. It is a win for reality. But it's sad that it took this long to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine what those girls went through, man. And I'm pretty sure that his wood got very hard in that locker room around a bunch of naked women. A disgusting freak. And the NCAA should actually strip him of that NCAA title. Because that's a part of the record books, too.
And
the titles.
That's one thing that hasn't happened yet. He still technically has those.
Wow.
Even though the NCAA changed their rules.
Right, because this is the university essentially being like, okay, you know, all these records that got smashed and all this stuff, we're taking that down. We're putting like a little asterisk by it or something and restoring the actual females who set those records and all the different events that he swam in. But there's still a lot of work to do. It seems like every single day, if maybe not every single day, but certainly once a week, we see some story, whether it's about frisbee golf or disc golf, whether it's about track and field, whether it's a variety of different sporting events where transgenders are coming in and dominating the women. And I do think it's about as unpopular as it's ever been. From pretty much everybody involved, and it's only a matter of time before a lot of that shit ends up getting put out of its misery, period. But there's only so much we can do about the states that refuse to bend the knee for this kind of shit.
Ryan, didn't he tie a actual girl in one of the races? And then it was Riley Gaines. So it was Riley Gaines. And then they gave it to him just a virtue signal?
Yep.
So for Riley Gaines, they tied for 5th place in one event, I believe. And I think it was tied for 5th. And because they only have one 5th place trophy at the time, you know, they give it to one person, and they decided to give it to Leah Thomas for the photo op and not Riley Gaines.
Yep. And then ESPN honored Will Thomas in that Women's History Month thing and called a whole bunch of backlash.
Disgusting, dude.
No mention of Riley Gaines, no mention of Paula Scanlon. Nah, the man.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Horrible. And I think that Riley Gaines has been a massive focus for a lot of this, and rightly so. She started speaking out about it. She was very well within her rights to do so, and now she's turned into basically a rallying cry for a lot of that stuff. When you do look at someone like Paula Scanlon, who was on that team while the University of Pennsylvania covered for this dude, covered for this freak, this degenerate, this fuck, this weirdo, and forced every other woman on that team to get dressed with him and hang out with him and not speak out about it because they didn't want it to look bad for the college. That's nuts.
Yeah. They were forced to. They were told if you have something to say about this, then you're a bigot. They told the women that. And I believe Paula Scanlon, Riley, aren't they suing UPenn also? I think they are.
I think that's where a lot of this stemmed from, was like the investigation into UPenn and everything over these Title IX things. But in terms of an actual lawsuit from them, possibly, Paula Scanlon may certainly be well within her rights to do so.
Right.
But I don't quite remember.
It's also wild that at the time, all those people were pounding their chests about trust the science. And then they think that just being a year on puberty blockers, I can't talk with this dude, all of a sudden makes it to where it's a fair competitive advantage. Like, you didn't just have 19 years of being a man, you know, and having a male body. Like, you just lose all that muscle all of a sudden.
Yeah, these freaks pick and choose, man.
He still had the male body. You could just easily look at him and say, man, look at the shoulders, look at the muscles, the legs. I mean, he had a huge ass bulge in the pool. I'm like, are we supposed to actually really believe this dude is a woman when clearly you see his dick flapping around inside the bathing suit?
But that's what these freaks want. They want you to admit that that's a woman, and that's perfectly normal. You've seen it in the Olympics. You've seen it in, you know, other events, like Ryan was saying. These freaks, man, they got something wrong with them. Of course, obviously, right?
Yeah, but it's a good point about trust the science, right? Trust the science during the COVID era. But by the way, this dude who towers over everyone else in this pool and has a fucking dick, we have to pretend that that's a woman.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a fetish to them. It's fucking weird.
And it goes so much. It's like you said, right? Okay, so you've been on these hormonal blockers for a year or whatever. That doesn't negate the advantage that you've had by going through puberty as a man. It'd essentially be like, hey, if one of these women was allowed to, say, do steroids for like the first 20 years of their life, and then not do it for a year, you would still be getting all the benefits of all the muscle you built during that time. But it goes beyond that for men and women. The skeletal structures are different. The heart and lungs are different. Your capacity to do certain things physically is different inherently, biologically.
Yeah,
and it doesn't change just because you go on hormone blockers for a year.
Well, yeah, remember there's that documentary on the Russian women's swim team. I don't know if that was like in the 80s or 90s, and they were just blasting those girls with testosterone.
Yeah, they were growing beards and shit.
Yeah. And they kicked everybody's ass.
Well, then they'll turn the argument on you too. They're like, well, then we need these trans kids need to start these puberty blockers sooner. And it's like, no, that's not what we're saying. You know, they just go on to one freakish thing after another.
Yeah. Who knew? But the next thing, I feel like the thing that should be next is the NCAA has to strip these titles. Like, they have to. They're obviously changing a lot of their rules anyway. They're kind of acknowledging all this shit. You have to strip those titles.
The sad part about it is, even if they strip those titles, those girls will never, you know, get those years back.
They'll never get that moment back.
They'll never get it back, which sucks.
Yep. Emma White was still standing in second place.
They still had to experience it. They still had to change in the locker room with him. They still lost to him.
They still got to watch ESPN give them all these awards.
They'll never get it back, even if they strip it.
Celebrating
that's the sad
Women's
part about it.
History Month, bro. That was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, ESPN's been silent about that. What a retarded thing to do. Storm Shadow says blame Dangerfield and Ladybug's movie for this stuff. It used to be a joke, right? Like a common fucking trope and a funny trope to be like, look, there's a man dressed up as a woman. He looks ridiculous. Ha ha ha. That's funny. Like these used to be funny things. Now we're supposed to pretend that they look like actual women and treat them like women. Oracle of Doom, hail to the real men. Hail to the real men and hail to the real women as well.
Yep.
They're out there. Shout out Oracle of Doom 222. Let's make sure that these female athletes don't have dicks or internal testicles or whatever. People like Amin Khalif or whatever. That was in the fucking Olympics, bro.
Yep. Wild.
It was very clear that nobody thought Amin Khalif was actually a normal woman, because a lot of those fucking Muslim people in her corner would not have put her up on their shoulders, would not have done all these things, because you don't treat women like that in their society that way. Because they knew it wasn't a woman.
Yeah. They knew he was a man.
They admitted it. His trainer admitted it. Like when they talked about the results, when they talked about the testosterone levels, when they talked about the DNA results and all that stuff.
I believe that Amin Khalif always knew he was a man, because you never had a period at all. You clearly don't have vagina. Your chest is a man. Yeah, he knew he was a man.
I think, well, hold on. In terms of don't have a vagina or whatever.
No.
Like, is Amin Khalif... Amin Khalif does have a vagina, but also has internal testicles and stuff, right?
No. Internal testicles and a micro penis, no vagina.
That's what it is?
Really? That's what it is. There is.
Well, then how did it take this? How would you even get through any type of testing procedure if that's the case, though?
Yeah, because remember, when test results came back, XY male. And that condition that he has is only in males. This is no extra chromosomes. It's none of that. It's just that the testicles, the way it got developed, basically inside out.
Well, that's disgusting.
No ovaries or anything. 100% male.
Gross.
That's disgusting. But there you go. Zeke the Wise. How about them Astros giving the Dodgers a stomping? What about that, John? What about your Astros? You guys took a series from the Cubs, too.
Yeah. The Astros are hot right now, man, especially with the pitching. But that 18-1 beating was the worst beating at Dodger Stadium since 1962. They were booing Altuve. There's only two guys left from that 2017 team. Altuve and Lance McCullers Jr., who before this season, man, you forgot he was even on the Astros. Yeah. I mean, Astros, they're just a machine, man. You think they're going away? Nah, they ain't going away. Same old Astros. No matter who.
Well, I don't know if you want to quite phrase it that way, John. But yeah.
They're getting the W's, man. They still
who's not getting the W's? The New York fucking Yankees.
Yeah, the Yankees are.
The Yankees have been on a skid.
Terrible.
Yeah. And the Mets still haven't recovered either really from that pride thing.
Yeah, both New York teams are playing like shit right now.
Yeah.
Toronto Blue Jays now have the lead in the American League East over the Yankees.
Yep.
And you got Volpe out there who like the only on-target throws, I suppose, that he has is when he's throwing directly at Aaron Judge's fucking face. I don't know if you guys saw that yesterday. He hit Aaron Judge in the face with like an errant throw during in between innings while they were warming up, and Judge is like on the ground bleeding and shit.
Yeah,
I did not see that.
Yo, man, it's brutal.
I mean, look, I know our boy Dom somewhere in the chat, right? I know Dom's somewhere in the chat over there. I'm sure he's crying. Probably.
Yeah, you saw it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want me to play it?
But obviously, Aaron Judge has not sustained exactly the insane numbers he had earlier. Still having a hell of a fucking season.
Yeah, he's in a little bit of a slump.
Yeah, this is in between innings.
Damn.
Boom.
His sunglasses fell off.
Yeah, he got cut. He had to have like he was bleeding a little bit. He had a bandage and everything up there. Friendly fire.
Ouch.
Friendly fire. But my Cubs are, we're playing okay. July 4th went the fuck off. 8 home runs on the 4th of July. 3 from Bush, 2 from Pete Crow Armstrong. An insane catch from him yesterday as well. Or maybe that was today or the day before. I don't remember. But
real quick, though, man. Remember we were talking about Ben Verlander. I know Beardo wants to talk about this. Because Ben Verlander, Justin Verlander's brother, said that Jose Altuve did not cheat in 2017, and this all stems from the Astros destroying the Dodgers over the past 2 games, and Altuve had a big hit again, and I know Beardo probably has something to say about that.
Of course,
Altuve cheated. Now I will say this though.
Can you share it with us?
I'll kick at the article up here.
Yeah.
And let me find it real quick.
So the whole thing with 2017, the Astros were good. Like they didn't need to do that. They didn't need to cheat, but they 100% did. They were found guilty of it. They had to all stand up there on the podium and apologize for it. All the players got a slap on the wrist. If they didn't cheat, then Carlos Beltran would be the manager of the Mets right now. Alex Cora wouldn't have had a 1-year sabbatical with the Red Sox. They fucking cheated. And Altuve 100% was used in the trash can. And also, he was 100% using the buzzer. He didn't want to take off his fucking jersey. That fucking queer did not want to take off his jersey because his nipples were too small or he got a new tattoo and his wife was going to be mad at him for taking his shirt off on live TV. What a fucking bitch, okay? The Astros are good, and they've won a World Series since then, and that's fine, justified. But 2017, they cheated to hell and back.
Let's say that he didn't cheat. No doubt about it, he benefited from it because let's say the 2 guys on base before him used the trash cans. Jose Altuve is a great hitter anyway, so he drives them in.
Which is the retarded thing. Altuve is a great hitter. He's, for his size, a great power hitter too.
Yeah, and he got better at power hitting because he started off hitting like 7 home runs a season.
Well, when you know what's coming to you, you're going to be better at it.
He got better overall.
So this is Ben Verlander, brother of former Astros pitcher. Reality is apparently too difficult to accept. As he demonstrated so beautifully on Friday night as the Astros beat up on their 2017 World Series opponents, the Dodgers. In a series of inaccurate posts on X, Verlander defended Astros outfielder Jose Altuve by inexplicitly acting as though he didn't cheat while an integral part of the team that got caught cheating. Let's see. He didn't cheat. They were cheating too. Should have cheated better. And a decade ago is what Verlander says. Well, if they didn't cheat, then the Dodgers cheating wouldn't have been 2. It would have just been they weren't cheating. The Dodgers did have a thing going as well, though. Multiple teams
had something.
Multiple teams got caught up in this stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Dodgers were one of them. The Yankees were one of stuff like this. But the level that the level of the real-time feedback that the Astros were getting with this is the difference maker, right?
And I think it's really because the Astros just won more than any other team. Like,
well, then
people forget about the 2018 Red Sox because
I was just about to bring them up. The 2018 Red Sox were 100% cheating too. And not just with whatever signals that they were doing for at-bats. All of their pitchers were using pine tar or spider tack, especially Joe Kelly. Joe Kelly was one of the most egregious ones using that spider tack. They were all, their forearms were all shiny. They're going to the wrist. They're getting that spider tack. Yeah, the 2018 the 2018 Red Sox were scumbags too.
And you remember also the Yankees pitcher. Remember, he looked pretty dumb when he couldn't say he was using spider tack. Who was it?
Cole,
yeah, Garrett Cole.
Yeah, well, he was using spider tack for the 2017 Astros World Series.
Yeah,
he wasn't on that team.
Yes, he was.
He was on that team?
Yes, he was.
Garrett Cole?
Yes, he was.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, but
Hey,
like
as a Patriots fan, all I gotta say is I respect it.
look, the idea that a lot of teams will be using everything they can to try to decipher the signals and stuff 100%. And I think most people view
Cole
that
wasn't?
No, he wasn't. I knew he wasn't on the team. He came on in 2018.
Wow,
he wasn't on that team.
You're so adamant.
I apologize. I was wrong.
There you go. I think the difference is the very low tech of a banging a trash can, right? The idea of watching in real time and telling your player, regardless of whether you're able to get somebody on second to maybe tip a sign here or there, whatever, because that's
the thing is, Astros players were saying that Altuve wasn't a part of it, and he would step back when he heard the trash can. All the players were saying that, but still, he did benefit though.
Nobody buys that shit.
I mean, regardless, it doesn't matter though. I mean, he still benefited from it because if the other guys in front of him on base got on and then he got a hit in an RBI, then yeah.
I just find it very hard to believe Yankees Astros, Aroldis Chapman, who's throwing every single pitch 105 miles per hour. Jose Altuve takes him 500 feet yard.
You realize that was a dumb pitch too.
That's fucking crazy.
That pitch selection was awful.
I don't care.
Yes,
it was terrible, man. I could have hit that out the park.
I, for one, am happy that your Astros are doing well. I looked up on the 4th, just for fun, who has hit the most home runs on the 4th. And shout out to Christian Walker. He had the most, so I bet him, and then he hit another one. So now he's at 4 of active players.
And the Astros still banged up, man. I mean, Jeremy Pena's down. Yordan Alvarez still out. Just wait till we get them back.
That's wild. Cubs first baseman, Matt Bush, hit 3 bombs on 4th of July, 3 home run game. And it's only the 3rd time that the Cubs have had a hitter hit 3 home runs against the St. Louis Cardinals in one game. And all 3 of the games are on 4th of July. Like going back to like fucking 1900 or something.
Weren't all those home runs like solo shots too? Because they had like 10 home runs. Was it 8 or 10 or something?
The Cubs had 8 home runs and only like 11 runs. So a lot of them were solo shots. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. PCA and Kyle Tucker are going to be standing right next to each other in the all-star starter outfield. I'm excited about that. Javi Baez, the infielder who was traded for Pete Crow Armstrong, when Pete Crow Armstrong was obviously a prospect still, will also be probably starting center field, which is a crazy story. I love Javi Baez, one of my favorite players to ever watch. Exciting as hell, frustrating as hell at points because of his pitch selection and some of the risks he might take on the field. But holy shit, what a comeback story for him. He's having a great season and his first time ever playing center field, and he makes the fucking all-star game.
Good for him.
But how the Angels doing?
Dude, I don't want to talk about it.
Why not?
It's just a constant battle with just trying to get 500.
Dead Angels.
Ron Washington, done for the rest of the year. He's probably never going to manage the Angels ever again. He's got a bad heart, apparently, from all those drugs he was doing in Texas with Josh Hamilton. But, yeah.
Did Josh Hamilton get Ron Washington on coke, or was it the other way around, you think?
Dude, Josh Hamilton was a fucking nightmare when he was on the Reds. He was doing loads of drugs on the Reds. When he went to the Rangers, when he was actually starting, getting clean, and he was actually good, because the Rangers went to a few World Series that they lost. But I don't know. They were probably partying. And then he went to the Angels and relapsed. Fucking Artie Moreno bringing in a fucking old man Josh Hamilton to L.A. That's a fucking recipe for disaster.
God, I forgot that he went to L.A., yeah.
Yep.
Dark Knight Rider for 20. Riley has a 40% chance of taking 5th by herself. Oh, yeah, if he had just decided I'd call it quits right there in the pool. The American Man. I thought VTuber Gawgura singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game at Dodger Stadium last year was wild. But now VTubers are interacting with fans on the field. What alternate reality am I living in? And I'm a casual. I don't even know what you're talking about. VTubers interacting with fans on the field?
I don't know.
Sounds a little crazy. David Cushmore for $10. Are you going to get a professional women's hockey league? That's short for PWHL. There are 6 teams in the league. The teams are Minnesota, Boston, New York, Ottawa, Montreal, and Toronto.
Yeah, and there's one of the chicks. One of the chicks is a goalie. She's really fucking hot. You know who I'm talking about, Will, right?
No. Oh wait, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We talked about it on your show before.
Yeah. No, I remember. I remember now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of them that are smoke shows. I think I'm gonna transition and go join. You know.
You'll fit right in.
Yeah.
You'll fit right in. Burn, the scandal that got the Tigers hinge. That's true. Also, if my Tigers cheated to win a World Series, I'd be smacking trash cans over the Yankees dugout myself the next season.
Yeah, AJ Hinch is a damn good manager, man.
He's the only one that had any real fallout from it, you know? I guess the GM too, right?
GM too.
Well, and Carlos Beltran, he got fired. He was the Mets manager for like, what, a week? And
That's
got
right,
fired.
yeah.
And then Alex Cora, he got fired, didn't manage the Red Sox for a year, and then they hired him. And then they hired him back.
Yeah, but like none of the players who participated, Beltran would be the only one, I suppose, but it's because he was about to be a manager.
And they just had to apologize. That was it.
But the thing is, man, if you actually punish the players, then you got to punish players on other teams too. These other players on other teams, they already knew what was going on. They knew other teams were doing their own thing too. So it was going to open up a whole can of worms right there.
Well, speaking of cheating in baseball, the one thing, right? You fucking steal signs, whatever. You fucking have a little camera pointed directly at the catcher to instantaneously steal the signs and give that feedback. Whatever. Maybe not even a slap on the wrist. We'll just pretend it never happened. Gambling. If you're found to be doing something with gambling, unless you're Shohei Ohtani, that happens just all fall on your roommate.
Right.
Gambling is taken pretty seriously. Gambling violations by Major League Baseball. We all know about the story of Pete Rose and how that all played out. Well, another big story, a big MLB gambling story hit the other day, and this one looks not very good for Luis Ortiz. MLB gambling investigation. Details emerge after Guardians, formerly known as the Indians, pitcher Luis Ortiz is placed on leave. So, a betting integrity firm flagged 2 incidents that happened during Luis Ortiz starts. And effectively what they flagged was not necessarily, hey, we know that this guy is betting on himself. Instead, what they flagged was an extraordinarily large number of bets, more than you would usually see for some specific props. And I think some of these things included the first pitch of the 3rd inning by Luis Ortiz will be a ball, something like that. If I'm getting this story right, Will, you can cut in if I fuck up at any point. You're our gambling guy. But that's my understanding of why some of these bets got flagged. And here's the pitch. Well, one of the pitches that the investigators were looking at when they started looking at these things. Hey, we've got a lot of activity. It's almost like some people really knew that the first pitch in the 3rd inning was going to be a ball. And then you go and you look at the pitch and this is it.
Oh, wow. That wasn't even close.
Just a little outside on that one.
Yeah.
Here's another one. This is closer. This is a more normal looking pitch, but this was also one where there was a lot of action on this one. But that's kind of a more, okay, there's nothing really like that stands out about that. But apparently there is a lot of smoke here. Betting integrity firm flagged 2 individual pitches from Ortiz, according to ESPN. The first was on June 15th. The alert was reportedly triggered by action on Ortiz's first pitch that inning being either a ball or a hit batsman. The next inning with similar action was another bad miss on June 27th, the top of the inning. The Guardians know he's under investigation. He's been suspended without pay until this. They're not commenting on anything else. But what it would hint at to me is that a lot of people knew that this was going to happen, and Luis Ortiz knew that it was going to happen, and that we've seen problems like this before in sports. If they can prove any type of contacts, any type of whatever, he is fucked.
What's wild to me is these prop bets are so small, like betting wise. Like not many books offer them, like DraftKings, FanDuel does. So what had to happen? He either had to throw a ball or hit the batter, and you see that he throws it way outside or way low because he can't like throw it high and tight or something. Because if the guy accidentally fouls it off, then that bet loses. But what is wild to me is one, that it got flagged, so that means there was enough attention to it. Think of all the bets that come in all day long on these sites, and all of a sudden they're like, we have all this action lopsided one way for this to be a ball, which is random. And then two, what I want to know when this investigation unfolds, what did he get out of it? Because you can't get a lot of money down. Now, if you could have 5,000 people place a bet and that adds up, but you can't like go in there and say, hey, I want to put $5,000 on this. They'll say no. You can maybe get like $100 or something on one of those bets. So it's like, what is he getting out of it? Is everyone sending him money, or
unless he's being blackmailed, unless he owes someone money?
Well,
and you're going to do this for us.
Yeah, that would be interesting. But still, there's got to be something to it. And the fact that it got flagged, how it works is these sports books will flag it and they send it to those integrity sites, and they do the investigation. And when those guys look into things, you can't hide anything from them. So if he's, which it looks like, if he is guilty here, he's done.
Yeah. I mean, you can get away with cheating in MLB. Gambling is a whole nother ball game right there.
Unless you're Shohei Ohtani.
His career is done.
Mm-hmm.
If they find out he did this, he is done. He'll never be back in baseball again.
Well, because this is worse than, to me, this is worse than just like betting on yourself, right? Going in there, betting on yourself, betting on your team to win, like stuff like that. Because now you are actually altering what's going on in the game to your own team's detriment. If you're trying to throw a ball, is that the biggest fucking deal? No, but still, you are truly affecting the integrity of the game when you're doing something like this. Now, we don't even know if he was betting on himself. There are, a lot of the stories that we know out there about gambling rings, about getting athletes to be in on you, getting a fix for games, is not necessarily based off a player winning a shit ton by doing that. It's by getting paid out by a bunch of dudes who have a lot of money at stake. And like you said, Will, hey, if anything over $10,000 is going to, you're going to have to alert whatever, you're going to go around, you're going to spend $9,000, you're going to place bets at 20 different casinos in like a couple hour period. Like, they have guys that do this. That's what they do. And that's how you generate that, crazy, unusual betting interest when you have somebody that you know is going to get that done for you on the field or on the court or whatever. To me, it hints that Luis Ortiz was that inside man, the guy that they knew he was going to get it done. All he has to do is throw a ball, and that's it. And again,
a lot of people were saying too, we're like, why didn't he just hit the guy and then make it not look as egregious, just like an
That's
accident.
not a ball then.
Yeah, well, no, but the bet is either the batter gets hit or it's a ball.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, but I'm like, well, if you do that, then you're putting a guy on first. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Whereas if you just throw it in the dirt, you're not really hurting your team as much. So, I don't know. It's a bad look. Bad for the sport.
Look, baseball players are allowed to bet, right? They are allowed to bet on game, not baseball, not like on diamond-based sports or some shit like that, they say, but they can bet on anything. They can bet on NFL. They can bet on NBA. They can do stuff like that. But regardless of whether Luis Ortiz himself was gambling or working with a variety of gamblers to make sure that he fixed this bet, if it's proven, he's done. He's never playing Major League Baseball again.
Yep.
Bottom line. And I know no one cares about sports bettors, but for me, I hate this because there's only a few books that do fun props and stuff like this. Now, if players start taking advantage of it, they're going to pull those. And, and you might say, oh, boo-hoo, who cares? But that's what makes it fun. That's the reason why people go to DraftKings and FanDuel, because they have a wide range of things that you can bet on. You can bet if a guy's going to hit a home run at the next at bat, fun things like that other traditional sports books, like if you went to Vegas, they don't have that stuff.
Yep. Now here we are. I obviously don't have any problem with it. And the guys should go gamble on whatever they want. I don't fucking care. I think it's awesome. I think it's fun. But obviously, here's the tricky thing for Major League Baseball as well, and all these sports who looked down on sports gambling for so long, but now they all have partnerships with them. So now they all have partnerships with them. They're endorsing them. You see their ads everywhere, and it's a lot of fucking money involved. And so now you have them on one hand saying, hey, everybody sports gamble, everybody place your bets. You guys, not the players, not the guys here, but everybody else should do it. So it becomes a high profile issue. Zeny Biscuit for $5. Didn't hear until late Sunday. The coach, D. Wayne Lucas, did pass away Saturday, June 28th. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that, Zeny Biscuit. You brought that up in the super chat that he had MRSA or something bad, right?
Right.
I think that was it. Zeny Biscuit for another $10 says today also marks the 50th anniversary of the tragic match race between Derby winner Foolish, Pleasure, and Triple Tiara winner Ruffian. Ruffian's leg snapped during the race and was later put to sleep.
Wow.
That sounds awful, Zeny Biscuit.
Not good.
That sounds awful. Taker for $5. Angel Reese, Angle, let's see, reportedly said WNBA is essentially by black women for black women. Sounds like Charles Barkley saying the NBA is our league. I didn't see Angel Reese's comments about that. One of the struggles is about half of every Angel Reese quote you see out there is fake and made up. Sometimes like just a random graphic that'll say she said something that she didn't actually fucking say that goes viral on Facebook or some boomer app or whatever, and then gets spun around. So I haven't seen that specific one, but I'll have to look. Mike Hill, Caitlin Clark's teammate, humped her during the celebration after winning Commissioner Cup. Guess hoping she'll be part of the LGBTQ team.
I saw that, and then Caitlin Clark was like, whoa, like.
I think everybody was just having fun.
Sure.
That celebration was wild. They were live streaming it, and Tyrese Halliburton was in the comments, and Sophie Cunningham's fucking twerking on live feed, and
hell yeah.
Yeah. They had a hell of a celebration. Caitlin Clark still not playing. They need to actually let her get healthy, because obviously when she's not healthy and not 100%, can't be effective with the physicality that they guard her with in the WNBA. There was a little controversy the other day with Caitlin Clark, as she was first in the Players All-Star vote at guard. She was 4th ranked by the media and 9th ranked. The 9th best guard in the WNBA is ranked by the WNBA players.
Wow. That's salty.
Now,
that gets blown out of proportion a little bit. Sorry, cut you off, Ryan. But
what I was just going to say is I do feel like you have to put a couple things in context with this. Like this is for all-star voting this season. And Caitlin Clark has been injured for over half the season, it feels like. So I do think you have to take some of those things into account. However, very big gap between what the fans think, what the media thinks, and what the WNBA players think about Caitlin Clark. But go ahead, Will.
The players said that she's the 9th best guard in the league.
Well, because this year she is not playing that well statistically when she is playing. Like she's shooting 29.5% from 3. Like, and she's playing like 16th best guard in the league. So the fact that they put her 9th is a little bit of credit. Obviously, we see a lot of her highlights when she goes on fire in some games or for a quarter, right? And just starts draining threes. But if you actually look at her stats this season, they're not good. They're nowhere near where they were last year. So I mean, I get it. Everyone wants to put her at like number 1 with, the fans, and then they see her at number 9 and they want to say, oh, the players just hate her, which I do believe that players hate her, but I do think the 9th ranked is pretty just.
Yeah. And I think especially when you look at the last 2 games she played before they finally had to say, no, you can't play through this injury anymore, and sat her down until she's actually healthy. She went like what, 0 for 8 or 1 for 9 or something from 3-pointer. And she's played in very few games this year. It's kind of a small sample size. Like if we go,
she's played 9 games this season.
Yes, exactly. She's only played in 9 games. So when you have 2 games after you come back, she went off that 1 quarter, and then the next 2 games are getting almost over from 3. It's going to drastically affect your numbers. But yeah, so when I saw that, obviously, I don't think she deserves to be the number 1 voted guard. That's what the fans voted. I don't think she deserves that based on how little she's played so far this season and what she's done while she has played. But I don't know if 9th, if everything's taken in totality, is necessarily representative. But I do think it's probably closer than what the big headlines were about it. Because you got to factor it in, man. She's barely
Yeah,
played.
and it's different too. If like we're picking teams for like a tournament, she's going to be selected in the top 5, top 3, obviously.
Correct.
Granted, she's healthy, but if you just go based off the award of like what have you done so far this season, I think 9th is fine.
Correct. That's kind of how I saw it as well, which is why I really didn't make too big of a deal out of it. Chris Karan for 10. I have a business question. How the fuck does a company that constantly loses money, mediocre TV deal plans to expand their business and players will strike for more money? Talking about the WNBA?
Simple answer. The WNBA is subsidized by the NBA. It's that simple.
Always has. It's a virtue signal.
Yeah.
It's basically like when you have the little fucking graphic of, oh, look what Warriors players Klay Thompson and Steph Curry did this random day. They went out to a local fucking black neighborhood and helped build a playground, and they take like a couple minutes of photos and stuff like that, do some thumbs up, and they're like, look at that. Look what they're doing for their community. That basically is what the WNBA is for the NBA. It is a virtue signal to be like, look what we're doing for women who like to play basketball. Isn't this sweet? Yeah, we'll throw them a couple fucking tens of millions of dollars down the tube, but it'll be said about us that we care about expanding women's basketball too, and look at how much we care. That's what it is.
That's what my answer was going to be, because they're women and that they can get away with it.
Yeah.
There you go. Now, I do think, though, that this is an opportunity for the WNBA to change that, right? There's more interest in the WNBA now than there ever has been at any time in history. There's more people watching. There's more people going to games. This is that opportunity potentially for them to turn around a business that has been struggling for 25 years into something that might actually be profitable.
Yeah. But the thing
and
is,
they're
though,
expanding.
the players don't feel a sense of urgency to actually make money for the league. For one thing, a lot of the NBA owners own WNBA teams, so they're not going to make themselves struggle. I think to a certain extent, you're going to see the WNBA always be subsidized by the NBA.
But wasn't this the same as the NBA? Like when Larry Bird was in there, I obviously wasn't born around that time, but just looking back on history, the NBA was in a bad spot. They had the final tape delay, and then they had to go through those growing pains to finally get into what
Bird
they
and
are
Magic
now.
Came in. Actually, when Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain were playing, they were like the only two players that didn't have off-season jobs. I mean, these other players, they had to work in the off-season because the money wasn't there. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Wilt Chamberlain made $100,000 a year, which was a ton of money back then. And then Bill Russell went to the Celtics and said, hey, I want $1 more. And they gave it to him.
Virtual reality has a good point, and I agree with. I think they should lower the rim in the WNBA. Let them dunk.
My argument for women's basketball has always been they shouldn't play on the same court as men. That's why it looks the way it does. That's why it looks so fucking slow. That's why it looks so unathletic. Because they're on the same exact floor, same exact dimensions. Now the ball is slightly smaller for them, slightly.
Right.
3-point line
but
is
that's
shorter.
why it looks like a different game, because it is a different game. Now, here's the other problem, though. If you do that, if you lower the rim and potentially change the dimensions of the court, you know what I mean? Because I think you might consider doing both. Then you're playing on a completely different floor, and then everybody else would have to be. You'd have to build an extra. You'd have to build a different type of fucking court if you wanted to do women's basketball.
Yeah, and think about all the money in like youth sports, like schools and stuff. They'd have to build a whole new section of the gymnasium for the women's court with the women's rims. I mean, the rims wouldn't be too hard because you could just, raise them and lower them. But if it's on a smaller size court, then now you're installing new rims too. So
Is
a lot of money
the same
involved.
as the NBA?
What's that?
Is the lane the same size as the NBA?
Yeah, I think the lane, free throw line, everything, the 3-point line, I believe,
except for the
different,
3-point line. 3-point line is close. I know that.
Yeah, but other than that, you're playing on the same floor. So when you have women that are half the speed of these, maybe not half, but you know what I mean. When you have women that are moving around half the speed, can't jump nearly as high, and all this stuff playing on the same surface on the same floor, it looks like a much more boring, slow game because it has to be. Yeah. There's like no other choice.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
look at the way WNBA players shoot the ball, even with a smaller ball. It looks way different than an NBA player.
And I would suggest, maybe some of them should play in lingerie, but we don't want to see some of those WNBA players in lingerie.
Nah, some of the WNBA players are hot.
Some of them, yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, you have to pick and choose. Be like, you're allowed, you're not.
Right. Yeah.
Have to figure all that out. Why do the floor dimensions matter? The floor dimensions matter because if I have a 94-foot court and during an NBA fast break, it takes these guys fucking 3 seconds to get from one place to another, and for a given WNBA player, that same time frame might take them 5.5 seconds to get there. It's different,
Ask Malik Beasley.
Shit, yeah. Shit. Another gambling scandal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hustling at the end of they're down 9. Game's over with like 5 seconds. Gets the inbound and sprints all the way down. No one even tries to guard him, and he slams it.
Oh, right.
They cover the spread. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even all the players on the court were like, "What are you doing? Are you stat padding or what, dude? The game's over."
Yeah, fucking down. Because what was the cup? What was it, like 8 or something? And they were.
It was 8.5 was the spread. They're down 9, and he just dunks it in for a point. He goes across the full court as fast as he can and lays it in to cover the spread.
Yeah, some suspicious stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
Suspicious stuff. The American man. Shout out to my boy Clayton Kershaw for getting 3K. 20th Major League Baseball player and 4th left-handed pitcher in history to do it. As magical as his no-hitter in 2014, CK3. Clayton Kershaw did hit 3,000 career strikeouts.
Yep.
Maybe one of the last we'll ever see do it. That is an exclusive club. A very exclusive club, and pitchers have to play at a high level for a very long period of time to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And
now with like a pitch count.
Yeah, now with the way, and as often these guys are getting injured in general and all that stuff, you do have to wonder, is there anybody that could be on pace to break it right now?
Right now, for young pitchers in the league, I think Paul Skeens probably has a shot at doing it.
Yeah, but this is
if he stays healthy,
healthy,
he's got to stay healthy. He's going to have to play for 20 years.
What's crazy is Kershaw would have to replay his whole career, which he obviously can't do at his age, just to pass Nolan Ryan's record, which is just, it was like 5,700.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Nolan Ryan is that record.
It's never getting broken.
He was
never getting broken.
He was just striking out everybody.
You know what else we didn't talk about? Oh, sorry.
Well, I was Max Scherzer has 3K, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Verlander probably has. Does Verlander have 3K?
I think he already has 3K.
Yeah,
yeah.
3,300.
Other than that, like no one comes to mind who like, oh, could that guy do it in the next 5 or 6 years? I'm sure there is, but
Verlander's at 3,400.
I'm wondering, are we even going to get a 250 game winner anymore? Kershaw doesn't even have 250 wins. I believe he's like what 215, 220, something like that.
Yeah, the idea of somebody getting to 300 seems almost
300
fucking
wins
impossible.
seems impossible considering the way they do rotations now.
Mm-hmm.
But what were you going to say, Beardo?
No, we didn't talk about NFL trade. Miami Dolphins and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Mika Fitzpatrick, Jalen Ramsey, and Jonnu Smith. The Steelers just getting older.
Yeah. You said that nobody wanted him.
Dude, Jalen Ramsey is a fucking bum. He is a bum, and he's been a bum. He loafs, dude. He takes plays off. He just likes fighting with people. And ironically, the person that he fought with the most, DK Metcalf, now they're teammates. So we'll see how that is in the locker room if they're going to, become friends or whatnot. But that's a trade I don't understand. I like Jonnu Smith. The Steelers picking up Jonnu Smith, another weapon for Aaron Rodgers. But getting older at that position on defense, trading Mika Fitzpatrick back to the Dolphins where he started his career, that one I just don't get.
Yeah, you don't too often see like player for player, like all pro type of trades. You know what I mean? Especially two guys in the secondary. But yeah, that's what we saw. I don't really know how to feel about the trade. Obviously, they feel like they need more help at corner than they do at safety. Is what they're going with there.
I guess, yeah.
But yeah, kind of a ballsy move. Minka Fitzpatrick's been huge for them, for the Steelers, during his time there.
And didn't he originally get traded to the Steelers from the Dolphins?
Yep.
Right? Yeah. Fucking what? 4 years ago, maybe. I don't remember.
Like
it was like a first round pick, and everyone was like, "What? You're giving up a first round pick for him?"
Mm-hmm. He was a stud.
And you had to pay him. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now
that one I just don't get.
Now they got him back. But yeah, we are in a little bit of a lull for NFL stuff right now as teams are ramping up for training camp. Obviously, there's a ton of NBA free agency stuff going on. Some of it a bigger deal than others. NBA trades that are still happening, but
buyouts.
Yeah, buyouts.
Yeah.
DeAndre Ayton going to the Lakers, which, bro, when DeAndre Ayton was at Arizona, I think that one year he was at Arizona, a lot of fucking recruiting violations, I'm pretty sure, for DeAndre Ayton while he was there. But I felt like he was going to come in and be a fucking monster in the league, honestly. And he has just not done that. Has looked incredibly lazy and demotivated at times. But maybe doing pick and roll with Luka can change that while LeBron sits in the corner and watches. But with LeBron James, $53 million he's going to be getting, which is nuts. What is this here, John?
Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger, man. I believe he caused some people to really step back and think, because forget about comparing Patrick Mahomes to Tom Brady. He was talking about Patrick Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers. And I misunderstood what he said at first, because he came out and said he would take prime Aaron Rodgers over Patrick Mahomes right now. And when he said right now, I thought he was talking about the way Mahomes has played like the last couple of years. No, he was talking about all time. Now, I was thinking, all right, is he talking about prime Aaron Rodgers versus Mahomes, the way Mahomes is playing right now? Yeah, I would take prime Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes, the way he's played the last couple of years. But all time, I can't do it. I can't do it.
All right, where's Big Ben? Went there in a recent episode. Is there like any audio of it?
I don't know if there's any audio on it. It does quote what he said right there, though.
Let's see. Enter Big Ben, the former Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, went there in a recent episode of his podcast, Footballin' with Ben Roethlisberger. Yes, I think Patrick Mahomes is phenomenal. He's going to go down as, another arguable GOAT. You know what I mean? There's not only like one GOAT, but there's GOATs, a whole herd of GOATs. But I would take Aaron Rodgers in his prime over Patrick right now, he said. And then he tried to phrase it just so Patrick Mahomes is just entering out of his prime.
He may not be wrong about that.
There's some truth to what he's saying.
That there is.
Because if you put Patrick Mahomes in a different situation, because Andy Reid has built a fucking machine in Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City was good when Alex Smith was the quarterback there. Yeah. They were competing for the AFC when Alex Smith was the quarterback. So if you put Patrick Mahomes in a different scheme on a different team, is he the Patrick Mahomes that we're used to seeing? I'm sure he'll still be good, but he's not going to have the rings.
That is the argument that we have about basically every quarterback.
Everyone,
ever.
of course.
But the thing is, the last few years, Patrick Mahomes has just been good. He ain't been great. He's been good. And when you actually look at Aaron Rodgers' numbers versus Mahomes' numbers last year, they were pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And I think that Mahomes' prime won't be as long as Aaron Rodgers. Mahomes' style of play, I already said he's not playing to 40. He's not. He'll probably play to like 35, 36.
That's with all these athletes, though, because they make so much money now. It's like, okay.
They make a lot of money, yeah.
I'm good. I mean, they've always made a lot of money, but now the money's just like, Patrick Mahomes, $500 million contract, right? Plus he's going to be taken care of the rest of his life. So when you get up to 35, 36, I'm sure it's going to be real easy to be like, yeah, I'm done getting hit, especially when he doesn't have Andy Reid anymore.
It's not to say Andy Reid, like when is Andy Reid going to leave? He's fucking old. It doesn't seem
old.
like
he's like what, 65?
No.
66, something like that.
His body's got a lot of fucking wear and tear on it from him being fat his entire fucking life.
Yeah, he's 67.
Yeah, so that's older. Like, who do you think is likely to die first? Fucking Andy Reid or Pete Carroll?
Oh shit, Andy Reid.
Probably Andy Reid.
Pete Carroll still looks like he's 50.
Yeah. It all depends on the wear, But I can't imagine Andy Reid. He ain't gonna stick around for 10 more years.
No.
Like I think we're to the point where every year could be Andy Reid's last. I don't mean his lifespan.
Yeah. I think Andy Reid is year to year now.
Yeah, that's how it feels.
That's how it feels to us. But I think to Andy Reid, he wants to coach forever. Like he'll die on the sideline. I feel.
Yeah. Obviously, he's not too dedicated to the whole parenting thing. We saw how that worked out. Bring your son to school, or bring your son to work with you day didn't work out the best, I suppose, for the Reid family.
But I mean, sometimes you're just forced out though, because I look at Greg Popovich. He wasn't planning on ending the way he did, and then he had his stroke, and then tried to come back and couldn't. And he was forced out. Now he only had a few years left, anyways.
He was really damn old too, but he also just signed that contract extension also with the Spurs.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like Andy Reid may want to keep going, but if he unfortunately has some sort of medical event, sidelines him, he won't be able to do it, no matter if he wants to or not.
We're just speaking bad things into existence here when it comes to these guys. I hope Andy Reid
lives forever. Man. I was talking about just Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes.
I hope Andy Reid leaves forever. Like, look, Mahomes has not, that offense has not looked the same the past 2 years that it necessarily looked like before. But they've gone through a lot of changes. They've gone through a lot of personnel changes, stuff like that. And if you think about not last year, but the year before, where that offense struggled that first half of the year before they really landed on Rashee Rice as going to be, okay, this is the prime wide receiver target for Patrick Mahomes, and we saw them continue to play better, played really well, win the Super Bowl. Like they figured it out. Whereas
that was also offensive line. They had 3 new offensive linemen to start the season.
Yeah. And then this year you had some pains. You had some growing. Rashee Rice, though, then gets taken out. He's out. So the guy you thought was going to be that guy. And to me, this year, they just never really recovered the same way they did the second year. They still won like fucking 15, 14 games, whatever the fuck. So we're talking about.
That was mainly
I feel like we're talking about the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes as if they just went 500, where that's not reality.
No. Also, by the way, I remember last season, it was about 5 games into the season, man. The media actually had Patrick Mahomes in the MVP conversation, and the man had more interceptions than touchdowns. I was like, are you serious? I believe it's ESPN. You can't be serious.
And Travis Kelce, big drop off last year in performance. He was slow. That's another guy. He's year to year too.
Yeah, he's year to year.
Well,
this is probably his last year.
Yeah, and another thing people don't factor in is, like, obviously we all know football's hard, but what is really hard is they've gone to the Super Bowl 3 straight years. They played more games than any other team has.
Yeah,
that wears on a team, and you're going to have a fall off. Not saying you can't recover, but there's going to be a down year. I'm betting it's this year.
Yeah. Last year was just. They were 15-1, but something definitely seemed off with them.
Well, a lot of them weren't they were
16,
fucking tough
15,
wins. They were last second wins.
Yeah.
There were stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't count on those breaks every single year.
They had a lot of breaks.
I will say, though, certainly could be a down year for them, but getting the fucking shit stomped out of them in the Super Bowl could be huge for them, and like something to really rally around. When you've won a couple, whatever, you go to another one, blah blah blah. This could 100% be something for them to rally around legitimately. to come back because of how they got disrespected. They just got destroyed.
But this is the
Eagles.
first year the NFL did not give them a favorable schedule. You look at the first half of their schedule this year. Most of them are primetime games, obviously, but it's no easy stretch. And if they stumble out the gates, they might not be able to recover from it.
Said the first 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Regular season. Chargers.
In Brazil.
Eagles.
Yep.
Giants at the Giants week 3. Ravens, Jaguars, Lions, Raiders, Commanders, and then the Bills.
Damn. That is a tough schedule.
And you got to remember, a lot of those are primetime games, short weeks. I mean, they start the season off in Brazil and they got to come back. Granted, they get to play
on
Friday.
every fucking holiday.
Mhm.
Like, yeah.
They do play. Oh, shit.
They've got a weird schedule because same thing as last year where they played on almost every fucking holiday. So, like, your weekly turnarounds are a lot different.
They play 2 games in 4 days this season.
Damn.
December 21st at the Titans, and then 4 days later, Christmas Day at home against the Broncos.
Yeah.
That's tough.
That's insane.
So we'll see.
And, and going all those Super Bowls, man, yeah, that's great, man. But you get like no rest. I mean, the offseason is very short. I mean, teams about to report the training camp went in about a week or so.
We get football this month. The Hall of Fame game is later
Hall
this
of Fame
month.
game this month.
Yep.
It's fucking wild. But we're ready. We're ready for football to be back.
Yep.
Long and distinguished for 2. Andy Reid had that bum Donovan McNabb in the Super Bowl.
He ran him out of town for Mike Vick.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him a bum. He was good.
I won't call Donovan McNabb a bum. But
It's Campbell commercials, man. Love
that's right. And his mom.
Yep, him and his mom.
Virginian. The Chiefs were literally 13 yards away from being 8-9 last year. There's a really good breakdown of this, but I can't remember the channel's name. There was a lot of, comebacks and close ones and close calls.
It was very close because that plus minus on the season was pretty low, for a 15-2 team.
Yeah. I mean, you saw, was it maybe Derek Carr's rookie year or maybe his second year with the Raiders, whatever it was, they had like an incredible record in 1-score games, right? Where they were like 7-1 or something. And it's like, that's tough to repeat the next year. And sure as shit, luck kind of went the opposite way for them the next year.
Yeah. The Chiefs were plus 59 last season, which was really low compared to other teams.
But we'll see. Never know what can happen. Sometimes some teams will be bad. Like we know the Browns will be bad. Like
the Giants.
But certainly, obviously.
Yeah.
Jags.
Bears.
My prediction's 8 wins for the Bears. That fucking schedule's rough, dude. Thank God we have some bums like the Browns and the Giants, but the rest of the schedule's fucking rough. Tony Morrow, Santa Barbara for 199. Don't sleep on my Rams, Super Bowl bound. You'll see.
That's another old team.
I like the Rams. You're not going to catch me shit talking the Rams too much. But I think that's... Oh, you have had some boxing thing, right, Beardo? Tyson Fury?
Yeah. Just want to talk about Tyson Fury, unretired. What was his last fight, Will, in December? It was like December 21st or something like that. He fought Alexander Usyk for the second time. And,
I think it was November.
Yeah,
same time.
Tyson Fury, was it November? I think it was December. It was like a few days before Christmas.
Right around.
Anyways, last year, Tyson Fury lost his first 2 fights last year to Alexander Usyk, retired, hung up the gloves, and he announced that he's coming back, and he's going to be fighting Alexander Usyk next year for a trilogy in April. So he's got almost a year to get back into shape and, maybe be, the 3-time lineal heavyweight champion again. But that motherfucker's crazy. Like, I thought he was going to stay retired, but he just can't, dude. He's a crazy son of a bitch.
I remember last time he spent
coming back
10 weeks away from his family. He was like up in a cabin somewhere training, like didn't talk to them.
Yeah.
Rocky style.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Nice Tyson Fury making a comeback. That man looks like he's 60 years old, but he's in his late 30s, apparently.
Comeback real quick. Did you see who also unretired?
Who?
Yeah, John Jones.
John Jones. I was going to ask you guys, what do you think of the Patriot games? I'm excited. I think it's pretty cool seeing Trump announced the Patriot games next year.
Yes.
All the top high school athletes coming and competing from all 50 states. That's pretty cool for those athletes. And then they're planning on doing a UFC event on the White House lawn.
Yes, at the White House for the 250th anniversary of this great country.
Nice.
250th birthday, I should say, of this great country.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's great.
Which is nuts. It'd be kind of cool. But yeah, the John Jones thing, he like randomly sent out to, oh, by the way, I put my shit back in so I can be tested again. Bro, I don't think he's fighting. Like, I don't. What do you have him do? Like, if he wants to fight and can stay clean, you will fight him because he's a huge draw. But
he wants to do it on the 4th next year, is what he's saying. That's the only thing that will make him come back.
He has to fight Aspinall, right?
You can't trust anything he fucking says. He's not gonna be. He's gonna fucking get in a car accident. He's gonna get high. He's gonna fucking do something stupid.
Beat his wife.
Yeah.
Beat someone else's wife.
Beat someone else's wife potentially. But yeah. Patriot games could be really cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's about all I had to talk about. Beardo, what do you got going on, man?
Nothing much. Gonna smoke up some ribs and just chill and take it easy, man. Later tonight, I think I'm playing some Mario Kart with the Geeks and Gamers crew. So that's about it.
There you go. Will from Game On. Where can people find you?
Find me over on Rumble at Game On Show or here on YouTube at Game On_Picks every day, 4:30 a.m. I was lazy this weekend, as most people are. I ended up canceling my streams in the morning. I'm like, I stayed up way too late on the 4th. I'm not doing it. But starting tomorrow, we'll be back. I'll probably be live this afternoon too.
So 4:30 in the morning Pacific time, 7:30 Eastern, right?
Yep.
There you go. So it's a little more doable for some people here, potentially. And then John Matrix from Black and White Sports. What do you guys got going on?
Same old, man. Gonna relax a little bit since Sunday and shoot some content later on.
There you go. Hell yeah. Well, thank you guys for hanging out. Let me just make sure we didn't miss anything there. Didn't miss anything here. All right. And that's it. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys in Will's toothless smile next week here on Sports Wars. Bye, everybody.